everyone, this is Lara Hammock from the Marble Jar channel, and in today's video I'll give you some tips for curing your Fortnite addiction. So I did a video a little while ago aimed at parents, and I talked about how addictive the video game Fortnite is. So when I was reading through the comments, I could tell that most of the views on that video are not actually by parents. It's mostly teenage boys who are clearly searching Fortnite addiction on YouTube. Since I'm a middle-aged parent, not every viewer was thrilled with what I had to say, but there were a couple of comments from kids who are legitimately trying to find a way to quit or cut down on Fortnite use. So I thought I'd do a video on tips for that. So here's one thing to be happy about. Fortnite is not a chemical addiction like nicotine or heroin. It's behavioral, like food addictions or shoplifting. So that doesn't mean that it's easy to break, but you aren't having to battle both your brain and your body. You're just having to battle your brain. So these tips are right out of a cognitive behavioral therapy or CBT manual. Really what we're talking about here is behavior change. You want to start doing something more often, like eating more vegetables or working out, or you want to do something less often, like play Fortnite or eat a bunch of junk food. So both of these goals require some behavior change. And remember, the first 2 weeks are the hardest. Once you get through that period, it does get easier. So here is a brief outline of the process. Number 1, create a goal. Number 2, write down rules. Number 3, think of problem areas. Number 4, get an accountability buddy. Number 5, record your progress. And number 6, reward yourself. So let's go ahead and go through these. First, you're going to create a goal. Okay, so maybe this sounds a little silly, but if you don't know where you want to end up, you can't make a plan to get there. So what is your goal? Do you want to quit Fortnite altogether? Do you want to play a lot less? What is your definition of a lot less? Do you want to play a little less? So what's your definition of that? Do you just not want to think about it all the time? So write all of this down on the top of a piece of paper under the word goal. So next, write down some rules. So this is the part where you figure out how you're going to get from where you are now to where you want to be. If you want to compete in an Ironman triathlon, you don't just dream about doing it. You actually have to put together a training plan and then get your butt out there and train. So for quitting Fortnite, maybe your rule is that you lock up your PlayStation and only someone else in your house has the key. Or you can come up with a plan to play less, like a limit of 2 hours per night, Friday through Sunday, and nothing at all Monday through Thursday. Or unlimited time on the weekends, but none during the week. You'll have to come up with a plan to fit your own goals here. It needs to be detailed enough that someone else could follow your rules. So write these down under the word rules on your sheet. So now it's time to think of problem areas. So what time will following these rules be particularly hard? Are you going to have a hard time restraining yourself when you're procrastinating from studying? What if you don't have any homework and you don't have any friends to hang out with and you're totally bored? Or what happens when you do have friends over and they want to play? Or do you think you will have a particularly hard time stopping at the end of your 2-hour limit? So think about all of the times when you are likely to break your rules. Flip over your paper and write problem on one side and solution on the other. On the left, you're going to write down all the times that you think it might be a problem for you. And then on the right, you're going to brainstorm on how you might deal with those issues. You can also make some exceptions here. Like if I have friends over and everyone wants to play, I can make an exception to my rule against playing on school nights. The deal is that you think through these things now when your brain is cool and analytical and your motivation is high. When your brain is hot and emotional and your willpower is garbage, you don't want to be thinking this through for the first time. You're obviously not going to be making good decisions. Now, you could use an accountability buddy. I hear you all thinking that this is stupid, but hear me out. This is optional, but you are much more likely to follow through on behavior change if you have someone to report to. So for example, I run 3 days a week. I run in the rain, in the snow, and in 100% humidity. Do I do this because I love to run? Definitely not. I do it because I run with a group and we all feel accountable to each other. We feel like we let each other down if we bail on our run. An accountability buddy is someone you check in with daily or weekly. A quick, I did well today, or I totally sucked today. You have to be willing to share the sheet that you just created and be willing to tell them how you're doing in following your rules. You could use a friend for this, particularly if you have a friend who is also trying to break a Fortnite addiction. But in my experience, teenage boys don't generally feel comfortable interacting in this way. You know who you could use? A parent. I feel like I can hear your groans from here. We're not all that bad. I swear if my son came to me and he handed me this sheet and he asked me to be his accountability buddy, first I would completely pass out from shock, and then I would definitely help him. But here's the thing, you need to let your parent know that this role is different from the role of enforcer, which is the one they normally play. In other words, you are driving the bus here. You will report to them on good days and on bad days, but they shouldn't punish you for bad days because you were the one who wrote the rules. It might be a difficult role switch for them, but I'm sure any parent worth his or her salt would be flattered and willing to help you out. 2 more quick things. Record your progress. So every day, record whether or not you followed your rules. I am partial to sticker charts, which other adults have fully laughed at me about. I know the sticker charts are generally for little kids, but there's really no better way to visually show behavior change progress. Get a monthly calendar and use 2 colors of stickers. I like green and red to show good days and bad days. I actually don't use stickers usually. I just color the blocks in with a marker, but that way you can see a nice visual progression of how you're doing against your goal. And by the way, don't cheat. This is not an exam. It is you trying to do something good for yourself. Unless you can be honest about your progress, things are not going to get any better. And finally, reward yourself. Figure out a way to treat yourself if you follow the rules for a week or 2. I generally think about 85% compliance is worthy of reward, so like 6 screen days out of 7 or 12 out of 14. But again, this is totally up to you. Your reward should be nice enough that you look forward to it, but not so nice that you can't afford to do it every week or 2, or that you are going to cheat to obtain it. Also, you're gonna have bad weeks. The important thing about behavior change is A, getting back on the horse and trying again the next week, and B, not shaming yourself about it, otherwise you will be tempted to quit altogether. Give yourself lots of praise and forgiveness, but then get back to work without dwelling too much on the week behind you. So, those are my tips. Set a goal, make some rules, figure out your problem areas, get an accountability buddy, record your progress, and reward yourself. If you are watching this video, you already have the motivation to make this happen. So let me know how it goes. Comments are always appreciated, and thanks for watching.